Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thank you for joining me today for an NHL season opening day episode of my new installment, Slab and Gab, where we look at a slabbed card in my collection and chat about it a little bit. Wanted to go with a hockey card today, obviously. Very excited as an NHL fan to see the 2021-22 season get underway. This evening, got a nice doubleheader coming. That includes the very first game for the new franchise, the Seattle Kraken. And we'll also get to see the two-time repeating Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning in action to start their season as well. And of course, it just kicks off an entire season packed full of 82 games of fun for all teams. First time we've had a full hockey season on the slate for a couple of years. So really looking forward to watching the counting stats and seeing how the players do in a proper 82-game season. And the guy that I have to talk about today is someone I enjoy collecting. In my opinion, he is the single greatest player in the league right now, has been for a number of years, and is absolutely establishing himself already as a generational talent, the likes of, a Wayne Gretzky or Gordie Howe or Mario Lemieux, Bobby Orr type player, and that is Connor McDavid. And a little foreshadowing here, you can tell by these cards in the background. These are Upper Deck exclusives parallels. I've talked about these a lot, especially in the early days of the channel when we were still in hockey season last year. These are very long-running parallels in the flagship Upper Deck hockey set. These have existed for greater than 20 years now. They're in the set every year, and they are always numbered, serially numbered to 100 copies. You can see this one here, this Daniel Sedin is copy number 16 out of 100. I love these because they're a tougher version of the Upper Deck base card. And the Upper Deck base set is fantastic. It is the tops for hockey. They're the only licensed producer of NHL trading cards. As far as I know, they're not impacted by the upcoming Fanatics deal, or at least not yet anyway. They've been producing hockey cards for over 30 years running, and they are the gold standard of modern NHL hockey cards, and as such, a player's Upper Deck flagship card is sort of their most recognizable card, I would say, each year, in the same way that Topps is for baseball, going back into the 1950s. And this parallel is just really attractive to me for that reason, because it is their most notable card, but at the same time, with only 100 of these in circulation, they are very, very difficult to track down after a few years. Initially, when the Upper Deck set hits the market every year, you can generally find your guy if you're looking around, and you can even get your stars for a decent price. But, once the set is in the rearview mirror by a few years, they really start to dry up. And, you imagine how difficult it is. Like maybe in the world of baseball, these are very similar to like a Topps Gold parallel, except instead of there being 2,000 of them a piece, there are only 100 of these. So, closer in scarcity to like a Topps Black parallel in baseball, but, closer in significance maybe to like a Topps Gold. So I love these. I've been fortunate enough to land some Ovechkins and other, superstar players, but until recently, I never got a Connor McDavid. He is extremely popular for good reason. This guy put up over 100 points last year in a 56-game season. And he had Gretzky-like numbers in terms of how much better he was than all of his counterparts. The next closest player in the league was Leon Draisaitl, also on the Oilers, with 84 points. However, Draisaitl benefits from playing with McDavid. And that's not entirely fair to Draisaitl. He's a top 5, certainly top 10 player in the league in his own right. But he is sort of like the Yari Curry to McDavid, in the same way that Yari Curry was to Wayne Gretzky back in the day. And if we eliminate Draisaitl from the conversation, the next highest scorer in the league was Brad Marchand of the Bruins with 69 points. McDavid had 105. So he is producing at better than 50% above his next closest, the next best scorer in the league, who's not his teammate and line mate, essentially. I mean, this is like, if Vlad Guerrero Jr. had just hit 45 plus home runs, but nobody else in the league hit over 30. It's just that he's that much better than all of his counterparts, at least at this young age. He's already got multiple MVPs and scoring titles, blah, 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 all the individual accolades. So yeah, he's really exciting. And this was my 5-minute gab here, in the gab side of the Slab and Gab title, leading to this recent pickup. I finally scored a Connor McDavid Upper Deck Exclusives Parallel. This is his 2018 release. So this is a 4th-year card of Connor. It's already, coming up on 3-4 years old now. You can see here it's serial numbered, copy number 44 out of 100. I was able to bring this home, and this may sound like a lot to some of you, but I paid $70 for this card. And considering that it's already slabbed, I was absolutely ecstatic, to get the card at that price. I was willing to bid up to 100 and truthfully had set my snipe for $99.99, but my sniping with Gixon in the end saved me about $30 off of what I would have been willing to shell out for this card. And to get this, it's a lowly PSA 8. I don't care at all. But the number on the flip doesn't bother me much to begin with. And more importantly, with cards of this rarity, you can't afford to be as picky as you normally would be. You just don't see these pop up for Connor McDavid. I couldn't tell you the last time that I saw another one of the other 99 copies of this card that are floating around out there, even available for sale at any price. He has a pretty rabid fan base, and quite frankly, I'm kind of astounded that I brought this home for the price that I was able to. I looked it over closely. I am not a card grader, and I would make a pretty terrible one because I often think, 6, 7, 8s, 9s all look beautiful to me. And as far as I can tell, I believe this one got the 8 designation because it's a little bit diamond cut, I guess would be the term. So if you look along the bottom of the slab here, looks like the right edge of the card is actually a little bit lower than the left edge of the card. And it's a little bit harder to make up at the top, but on the top, it looks like the left edge is a little bit higher, the right edge is a little bit lower. So I think there is a very faint, diamond cut attribute to this. It's really not very noticeable, especially with having the card in a PSA holder rather than a top loader where it might tilt. And, at the end of the day, if that knocked this thing down to an 8 and made it so that I could own my first ever Connor McDavid Exclusives Parallel, I will take that all day long and twice on Sunday. This kid is the real deal. I am firmly confident, as much as you can be with any, early to mid 20-something athlete, that over the course of the next few years, I am going to be patting myself on the back for landing one of these exclusives parallels before they became, quite frankly, just unattainable for me. They're close to that already. And just due to their scarcity and rareness, I guess. And I just think they're going to dry up, even more so as he continues to absolutely dominate at the NHL level and accumulate statistics and awards. So that's a wrap. Just wanted to share that one slab. Wanted to wish all of you hockey fans the best of luck this season for your respective teams. Hope everybody enjoys what is bound to be an exciting campaign here. If you haven't traditionally been a hockey fan, I would highly encourage you to check some games out. This year marks the beginning of a new TV deal that the NHL inked that's going to bring a lot of coverage to ESPN, which I'm really, really excited about. I grew up, a fan of the game in the mid-90s when ESPN did a lot of the playoff games, called by Gary Thorne and Bill Clement. And so I am very, very excited to see how ESPN treats the coverage of the NHL. I think this is going to bring a lot more exposure to the game. In recent years, you might have seen 5 minutes of hockey highlights in an episode of SportsCenter. I have a feeling that might be more like 10 to 15 now, just because, it's in their own self-interest, ESPN's, to promote the sport. So very excited about the future of hockey, the new TV deal, the Seattle Kraken expansion, watching Connor McDavid, continue to dominate. We've got the Ovechkin chasing Gretzky scoring race to follow. Promises to be a very, very exciting season. So again, encourage anyone who's not a fan to give it a shot. And if it's not your thing, that's okay. I'll be back with some other non-hockey cards as well. But fair warning that there will be an uptick in hockey content here on the channel in the coming months, just because of my excitement, quite frankly. So That's a wrap for today. Thanks for checking out my relatively rare McDavid, and I will certainly be back in the near future with some more sports card content. Until then, take care.